Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noreen and I create art tutorials, watercolor paintings, and art supply reviews. Today is going to be kind of a short video, but I wanted to go over some of my plans for upcoming Inktober. I wanted to go over the tools that I'll be using, what sketchbooks I have been testing out, and what my final decision will be. And let's get into it. So I got actually I have a few different sketchbooks. I've got the Canson watercolor or mixed media pad. I have a few Strathmore sketchbooks. I've got a Stillman and Burn. I think it's an Alpha watercolor journal. I also have the Strathmore travel art journal that I use for my plein air stuff. And I made a discovery. So first one that I want to look at is the Strathmore 400 series art journal. This comes in two sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5. It has 24 sheets, which is 48 pages front and back. And it's 140 pound cold press paper. But what's really neat is that even though it is watercolor paper, so you can expect the ink to soak in a little bit more, it's really smooth. So it's, for cold press paper, it's not very toothy. It doesn't have a lot of texture. It's hard to tell on the camera, but if you've seen this paper before, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's really affordable. I got this. Was a 2-pack for I think $24 maybe. They're currently on Amazon for $16 for one, so I ordered a couple more because for ink they're great. And I actually haven't done a lot of work with ink other than line work, so I'm really excited to try Inktober this year, because last year I really wanted to participate, but I couldn't get into it because I had a wrist injury and it was just really hard to keep up. The other one that I'm looking at is the Moleskine watercolor sketchbook. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube have recommended this, and it is very similar in terms of how smooth it is. The tooth is very slight. This has quite a few pages. I believe this has 72, and I think it's 100 pounds, so it is quite a bit thinner, but it does still have some thickness. So what I'm going to be testing today is how ink washes primarily are going to work, because that's what I'm really interested in doing. So this is the other Strathmore journal that I got in the pack of 2 that I used last year. And this is just an acrylic painting of my cat that I did on the cover. You know, but I use it just mainly for messing around and testing color combinations, sketching. This is when I first got some gouache. Here is where I started testing some of the techniques, because I'm not really familiar with using ink out of a brush. So I had tried the prompts from 2016 to just kind of get some practice, and this is what I came up with. I decided to use ink in a brush pen, or with a brush pen, a water brush. So this is I think this particular one, this is Sakura, came with the Sakura Koi travel watercolor palette, and I did order a couple more from Arteza that will get here either tomorrow or Monday. So my plan is to fill them up like I have this, with different variations of wash. So this is what I would call a medium wash. but it's pretty dark, and I want one that's a little lighter. I also used a white jelly roll pen. This is the Uniball Signo. I also have the Sakura ones, but I find that the Uniball works a lot better. And gold metallic watercolor. So that's the plan. And this was just sort of like a little story that I came up with. This little spaceman went out and on a mission to collect data, you know, on different planets, and he had a little stowaway. And here he's cute. He got hit by a meteor or an asteroid, and he had to go into an escape pod. And I didn't really finish, but that gave me a really good foundation of what I wanted to do. So I want to test the Moleskine and see if it will give me similar results. The other thing that I got is the Pentel Pocket brush pen. It has ink in it, and it's really nice. I mean, you can get some really nice stroke variation in this. And they are refillable. If you unscrew this, you'll see that it has this little reservoir that you can buy refills for, which is really nice. The ink is waterproof, which is perfect. So I've got, I don't know if my water is clean here. Clean enough. But even just a few minutes later, and you see there's no smudging. So that's perfect. The other ink I use most of the time is the Dr. P.H. Martin's Black Star Matte India ink. Anything that has India ink should be waterproof. So I'm also ordering, I believe it's Pentel India ink. It comes in like a pint bottle, because that's not going to cut it. So this is the medium wash. You can squeeze it out to get more. And what I like about having the ink in the brush pen is not having to make a mix and then worry about having it dry on a palette and then wasting ink. Keeping it in the brush pen like this is really nice, or rather the water brush. I keep calling it a brush pen. But I really like this because it has a nice fine point, but I can get some really broad strokes out of it as well. And the other reason that having a pre-made value in the pen or in the brush is that I can do my layers a lot more quickly. So with Inktober, if you don't know what Inktober is, it's a prompt a day, so you get 31 prompts in the month of October, and you create a piece for each day. So I run out of steam really quickly, and I think having my tools be as easily accessible as possible is really going to help me. I've been watching a lot of videos about how to work with ink and just practicing my strokes and my lines and my textures. And so if you're interested in doing Inktober, I think that is a really good idea. You should practice for sure. This is the jelly roll, or the Signo Bold, and it works really well. Now the other thing I noticed, actually I really like how white this paper is. Both of them are nice and white. I'm not a huge fan of like cream colored papers. I wouldn't say these are completely bright white. They're definitely a little more cream, but not like yellow, you know. the last thing I have is the Staedtler pigment liners. These are also waterproof, so these are great. This is a pack of 6 different weights, so this is a 0.3, but you can get a lot of variations in texture and finer details with this than you could with the brush pen, and I think using all 3 of these tools together will be a lot more interesting. And I think it'll give me some good versatility and a lot of practice with this medium, which is definitely something I want to get out of it. So let me know in the comments if you are thinking about participating in Inktober. If you are, definitely follow me on Instagram because I'll be posting each of my pieces there, but I plan to do 1 video a week with, you know, 5 to 7, maybe 8 pieces in 1 video, because I think I know a lot of people do it, but for me and my personal schedule, because I work full-time, that's going to be a lot of editing. So putting it all together is probably going to be a lot easier for me. But anyway, like I said, if you're interested in participating, follow me on Instagram. I would love to see your work this year. And that's about it for today, but stay tuned. Next week I'm putting out a tutorial on how to paint those galaxy photos, or the galaxy paintings that I showed you a few videos ago, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Bye!